everybody, and welcome once again to another edition of the Modern Farming Podcast, brought to you by the Green Gene Foundation, where we are always cultivating agricultural excellence in everything we do.
We're your hosts, Chris and Tara, and together we're growing knowledge about the world that feeds us.
That's great, Tara, and really interesting guest today coming out for us. I know you and I have both had a firsthand look at his product that he builds. His name is Mr. Red McClain, and he is the owner of Quality Outdoor Furniture here in Titusville. Welcome, Red.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we've had you as a guest at our farmers market in town here, and I know you do multiple events. And Tara, you've got to admit, the furniture Red puts out there that we see, monthly and regularly is just some gorgeous stuff.
Absolutely.
I make it a point to stop by and visit every time we're together at an event. And so I'm very excited to hear your story, Red, and I know the listeners are too. So let's hear a little bit about you, yourself, and your furniture business, and how it all came to be.
Well, I'll start just by saying thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell people about what I do. At 74 years old, I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do this, but I'm hanging in there. Basically, I grew up in north central Indiana in the 50s and 60s in the farm community, and was introduced to woodworking in the 7th grade when I was 13, and fell in love with shop class and had a great instructor, and also had the opportunity to work with some Amish. And boy, you talk about precision work. Now they know what they're doing, but it just kind of blossomed out from there. I've helped remodel houses, done rough framing, but I really found my passion into doing small furniture and chairs, tables. And after working 26 years at the post office here in Mims, Florida, I decided, well, I'm going to do something with my hands. Woodworking came to mind. So I spent 7 years before I retired and built me a woodworking shop in the backyard. And the same month I retired from the post office was the same month I finished my workshop. So it worked out well. And we started doing events around town, the New Smyrna Beach Farmers Market, and it really took off. So here I am.
And that's your shop behind you that you're
yes.
Podcasting with us from today.
Yes.
Very, very cool. Very nice.
So, Red, would you like to tell me about some of the wood that you use in your projects that you have?
Sure. I use most of the wood I use comes from down trees, hurricane, large trees that people work with arborists and tree trimmers and cutters. They have to go. And I buy locally from a sawmill in DeLand called Logs to Lumber. And the gentleman's name is Ken Dayton, very dear friends of ours. And I buy exclusively from him because of he sources from, not live trees, but usually dead trees. So, and he gives me a very good price. So.
Is there a special type of wood that you like to use when you're making outdoor furniture?
When I first started doing this, I exclusively was building with cedar. But as time went on, cedar got harder to get. So my wife came up with the idea, why don't you do, she called it a hodgepodge chair. And it's cedar, cypress, magnolia, hickory, some hard pine, black cherry. It's all local hardwoods that I use.
So it's intertwined in those pieces, and that's where they get the beautiful colors.
Well, it really took off because people wanted a cedar chair or a black cherry chair. And I said, well, I don't think I have enough lumber to make that. So I started making those hodgepodge chairs, and people fell in love with it.
Sure, it's something different, right? It's something different.
Right.
Which is so
they're definitely very beautiful.
They are. They're very unique. And you always say no one piece is the same, right? So
well, essentially, when I make a chair, I make it, then I take it apart, I sand it, finish it, spray it, and then put it back together. And people say, well, that's a lot of labor. Why do you do that? I said, well, if you're going to make something, it's got to be made right. So people don't understand that if you're going to have a wood chair outside, water's going to get in holes and cracks that you never thought of. So when I do it, take it apart and finish it, then the finish gets in all the little crevices where water likes to hide.
Interesting. That's very, very, I don't know, detail oriented, but very thoughtful in your building process. That's quality.
It's labor intensive, but the end product is well worth it because I tell people I guarantee my stuff for life.
Nice. So you're working with a lot of, different woods that there's a lot of storm recuperation and other things you said. So that, do you feel you're helping, you're probably helping a couple places, right? You're helping the local economy because there's folks out working on that stuff. And then you're also helping the environment by, cleaning up scraps of usually unwanted wood. So does that, how do you feel about that? Is that something that you're interested in?
I look at it this way: that lumber that was down by the hurricanes or felled by the trees would usually go to the dump and be burnt. Right. So I'm saving that lumber, and it's helping me and helping keep the cost down of my chairs, and just some beautiful stuff I get.
What do you wish your consumers that buy your chairs have a misunderstanding about the difference between your local chairs of the local woods and then the mass produced ones?
Well, every chair I make is different. There's no two chairs that I make are the same. One might have a little knot hole in it or a little piece of this pattern, but I've seen some crazy patterns in a lot of the lumber I work with. And the mass produced stuff might be okay. It's probably cheaper. But my dad taught me a long time ago, if you build something or make something, do it right the first time. You won't have to do it again. So.
Nice. So your father inspired your work habits a little bit. Is there someone else back in your youth that inspired you as far as woodworking goes? I think
mostly my dad, because the old saying, "Clint never could do nothing." He always told me, "You don't know it until you try to do something." So no, it's not my vocabulary.
That's good.
So I've seen some of the chairs you make. What other things do you make for outdoor furniture?
We have a small little side table that fits between the two chairs that I designed that sets on an angle. I make a lot of tables of all different kinds. I just found a beautiful piece of camphor when I was at the sawmill last time. And I made a gorgeous table, and I've got it. You can't see it, but it's back here. I got it covered up to keep the sawdust off of it. My wife came up with a lot of the ideas. I make 2-pot and 4-pot pot hangers that hang, and I make votive and tea lighting holders. What else I make? Phone and tablet holders, and all these pieces are, a lot of it's from scrap wood that I would usually just, saw up and take it out to the burn pile and burn it. So I've learned through my wife, why don't you make this? How about this? So she's inspired me to do a lot of stuff.
Good for you. So Red, can you? I'm interested in the process a little bit. Can you take us through? Kind of what you go out and you pick out some of these planks or boards
right
from your different sources, and then how do you go about kind of getting that all to be a piece?
Well, when I get it, everything is rough cut. It's just been through the sawmill, so I have a big planer. And when I designed my workshop, I had a place for everything. So I could pull my planer out, set it up where all the sawdust and everything, chips go outside. But that's where I do the finishing. So I mill it first through the planer, save the chips, and all the cedar chips I keep separate from the rest of the chips, because cedar, as you know, repels bugs.
Mhm.
So I take the cedar chips, put them in bags, and sell them for $10 a piece, large bags, and tell people if they'll just sprinkle them around the perimeter of their house, they won't have any insects in the house. So I use it in my home, and
Wow.
the rest of the shavings I use for flower bed. I usually give it away because I have so much of it. Matter of fact, in my backyard, I got a big pile of it now, and I've been slowly giving it away. But uh, that's essentially the process. And then the sanding. And I'll say that 80% of the work I do is sanding, sanding, sanding.
Mm.
And for my chairs, I have patterns that I use. And once I cut the pattern out on the band saw and the radio arm saw and the table saw, then those pieces are ready to be sanded. So I start out with 60 grit, go to 120 grit, and finish with 220 grit. So as you can see there, and the last time I sand everything by hand because it's kind of like you get a feel of the lumber. You want to see where all the little nibs, cracks, crevices are. And after you've done it a while, you kind of pick that up.
Wow. That's handcrafted. I think that's the term they use, and that's special.
Yes. So when you see a piece of wood at the wood mill, do you get the idea that at that time for what you think this piece would be good for?
It's funny you say that because I know exactly what that piece is going to do for me. Like this piece I made this table out of. It was beautiful. I've never seen a piece of camphor with a pattern that went through the metal of it before. And I said, "Ooh, that makes a beautiful table." So I told Ken at the sawmill, I said, "I got to have that piece."
Nice. So that's a skill, right, that you've probably developed just from doing it over and over.
Yeah.
And so now you're looking to so there's so much of a wealth of understanding from you doing this stuff. So are you looking to uh, have someone come in and help you and learn this skill so it's not lost on your
Absolutely. I would love to train somebody to do this because as I age, I'm getting weaker. The chairs aren't getting lighter because they weigh anywhere from 40 to 80 pounds, depending on the lumber. And I would just love to have somebody to come in I can train, and because it's an old trade that nobody's doing anymore. I don't even know if they teach shopping class anymore in high school. So
Sometimes not. I don't know that my boys went through it when they went through
Yeah.
school. That's too bad. It's like a super elective. You just only get a few.
well, it took me 40 years to learn how to use my hands, and here I am.
Well, we'll try to put the word out, right, Tara, as we find people, especially someone over here on our side of the state. If there's someone interested, we'll definitely point them in your direction.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember shop class myself. I loved it. I
too.
think I was like 7th or 8th grade when I was introduced to it and wasn't great at it, but really opened my eyes to different aspects the world has to offer.
Well, you should see the first piece I made. It was horrible. I mean, it was a little freestanding bookcase about maybe a foot and a half long to 6 inches wide, made out of black walnut. You can see the saw marks and where I tried to drive a nail in it, and it, was crooked, and I had to pull it out, start another hole. So, tricks of the trade, learning.
I think we all have a few of those laying around. Yeah.
Right.
So that's cool. So you're looking for someone to work with you. I wish I was, a teenager right now because I would love to sign up. What else do you see? Kind of looking ahead. Do you see this? You said the furniture. It's hard to find people in schools doing this stuff. What do you see for a path for this kind of trade? Do you see a way this could go forward and revitalize or continue?
I'm hoping that it does. But kids today, to get them interested in something like this, if they're in 4-H or Future Farmers of America or something, I just don't see. I look at it as a lost art that's coming in. A lot of people will ask me, "Are you an artist or a craftsman?" I tell them, yes.
Yeah, both. Very good answer. Very good answer. Is there anything you'd like to touch on else with how you do things environmentally, conservationally? Is it, you have any stories or any anecdotes on how you feel with forestry? Is you pay any attention to that kind of stuff, forestry work or things like that?
Well, it's funny because growing up in Indiana, um, all the farmers had what they call woods. And if you wanted to go mushroom hunting in May and June, you went to so-and-so's woods mushroom hunting. But they all had and saved a certain part of old growth forest. And that's where everybody would not only get mushrooms, but you go squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting in those woods. Because the fields around, when they harvested whatever they had planted, well, all the critters would go there. So you know where to hunt. But yeah, I always had a great appreciation for old growth forests, and hug a tree. That's me.
And that's where you're drawing your wood and your inspiration from, are the natural woods that you can get your hands on.
Well, there was a lot of black walnut, not much chestnut, but I can remember some chestnut trees before the blight really killed them all, and just a lot of hickory, just a lot of nut trees up there. And
yeah, nice hardwood stuff. Do you feel that as far as the economy goes, do you feel that there's some value in producing and selling local stuff like you do to help the local economy? Is that something that you would like to see more of?
well, for me, it's I always tell people I'm not out to make a killing, just out to make a living, actually. And this supplements my income very well. And it helps us get the things that we need and want around the house, and maybe take a trip or two that we didn't have planned. So, yeah, it does help the local economy because there's a lot of events. The Titus Landing, the new mall, I've done several there events. And Smyrna Beach Farmers Market was great. But the reason I got away from that is I got so busy I couldn't keep up with orders.
You had a lot of customers. Oh, that's better than the other problem you can have, right?
So you said your wife helps with the ideas. Do you have any other family members that are interested in the things you do, or anything that they've taken root on what your passion for this?
No, I'm the youngest of four kids, and I have an older brother and an older sister. But of course, they're not interested in what I do. But they look at my stuff and say, "Wow, that's really cool." But no, I come from most of my family was gone and passed on. Just recently, in this last week, lost my only surviving cousin. So the McClain clan is about gone.
Well, I look forward to seeing your next creation when I bump into you again. I hope you keep doing it for as long as you can, because I think you do a really good job.
You need to stop by and check out the workshop.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll put you to work.
I would love to spend a day with you, just seeing how you do it. Right.
Okay.
I know my grandfather was a carpenter, and he loved to do woodworking all the time. That was his go-to thing. So
I love it. It's my peace of mind. And now I have the workshop in the backyard instead of the carport. I can just come out in my backyard, and before I know it, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. Time just flies out here. But I love what I do.
Sounds like a perfect setup for a retired post office guy.
Absolutely.
I love my job as a mail carrier, but this beats it.
Yes, I can hear that. So I guess, Red, that's been pretty good. If you'd like to leave us with a final thought for the podcast that the listeners can take away, that would be awesome.
Well, I'm just grateful that God has blessed me with this body, my health, and the ability to do this work, because it's a lost art, and very few people I know are doing this anymore. Like you said, there's a lot of the stuff you see that comes from China or Vietnam or wherever that's mass produced. And that's not for me. It never was. So I'm just grateful that I have this life.
And that's awesome. And I think everybody's grateful to be able to have a source for such quality. The name says it, quality furniture. It can't be matched. It can't be matched to handmade. So congratulations to you, Red, and thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next with your beautiful furniture. So
I'll be there.
awesome. So thanks, Red. It's about all the time we have for today.
And thanks again for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks for listening to Modern Farming Podcast. Be sure to follow us and share, and join us again as we grow in the knowledge of the world that feeds us.
Thanks, Red.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.